Almost back. Go back on YouTube.
Tim made me the host, and then
It's all good.
I'm sorry.
No, all good. May apologizes. She just walked by. Okay, we're back up. We just need Lauren.
Technology, you
Right,
guys.
there's Susan.
Never once has our team presented in person and then kicked the rest of the people out ever. So,
And we're all back.
are we good? I hope everyone found that informative. I just think it's important for this group to know some of the different resources that are available, and I guess be aware that like there are things, and I think different groups will be planning some things for Mental Health Week, but wanted to share what our team was looking at doing this year.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's exciting. So before we left off, just to recap what we talked about, the call to action, so putting a challenge out to everybody, potentially listing some ways to promote mental health, positive mental health, and then kind of asking the community, how will you get real? We will create a Facebook page to do that. But there's a few things that we need to chat out a little bit. I think around prizes, sponsorship, what that's going to look like, so we can be clear with our messaging, because we will want to start getting messaging out probably sooner than later for people. So
what about prizes to the rec center? It's going to get up and running hopefully soon, and some kind of passes, or you could do group things that are eligible when things are lifted. And I still like the bouncing forward idea. I think council should do something together, Jeff, and we should get a bunch of balls and put special messages on them.
Okay, I'm in.
Okay.
Well, and I do, yeah, I think this challenge can actually go really big. Like even when May was talking about employers, I'm going to bring this back to the town, and maybe every department can do something for Mental Health Week, and we can maybe do an internal something as the town. Or like, I think if we leave it open to different groups to kind of figure out what that looks like, we might be able to get a lot of momentum.
I like it. I'm so tired of hearing getting back to normal. It'll be good to come up with some other slogans.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do something Zoom-ish, which would be kind of par for the time, or something like that, with the bounce it forward idea, and bouncing it forward to other groups to put it forward, and we could like have a Zoom and record it on TikTok, and we could have like the balls, and we could do other things, and then we could put it out there, and that could be our kind of push to sort of do that. We're already YouTube stars, so we should be TikTok stars too.
You still have those beach balls from the old Parent Link Center, or are they all gone?
I think we gave them all away, but it would be easy to get something like that, and I'm sure we could do something really cool with that. And I could like toss it this way, and Shara's there, and she could grab it, and
Yeah.
What about those massive, big, clear plastic balls that you're inside of that
we
would
will like that
force
too.
you to physically distance? You wouldn't have to wear a mask, and we could do something crazy.
You want all the council in one of those each?
I was going to say town councilors could go out and down the hill behind the hall, behind City Hall.
Sounds like
yeah, I think that sounds like a great idea.
Right?
All in favor?
We could have some drones out there watching it from above, and
I thought we were brainstorming.
Yeah.
I do have, if we do want to film something, I've been told, I have a friend who's more than willing to help us out for FCSS and the task force, help us out with different things and filming and drones, and he's done a ton of other stuff for the town as well, for that. So if that's something we want to look at doing, we have somebody that could help us. So.
All right, so it's 2:07 and our brainstorming is up like this big. So I want to bring us just in a little tiny bit so we are clear on, because we're going to have to get some communication out, like probably in the next couple of weeks. So just so I have a good idea of what we're saying to the world.
I wonder if you need a smaller committee and a blackboard and writing and maybe communications involved to get some of these slogans ironed out and messages.
Yeah, I was jotting some notes, and I do think we need a few different committees to be able to pull this off. I know it's a few months away, but it's going to go quickly. So I was thinking David Irvine. Susan, you mentioned right at the very beginning, getting a group together to work on the David Irvine bit. I wrote sponsorship. I think it might be good to get a small group together to talk about sponsorship and come up with an action plan. And like you say, that advertising, working with communications kind of piece. Have I ever looked at anything, or does that cover? I see the look of excitement about being on committees. So I'll put a call out. David Irvine.
So a couple of people to help me go for coffee with them and brainstorm how would be best. Maybe one FCSS person and one other person.
I'll be with you, Susan.
Oh, thanks. Somebody else like to join us? Good, Sandra.
Thanks, Sandra. All right, so me, Susan, and Sandra with David Irvine. Is there anyone with the passion for discussing and seeking sponsorship? This is an exciting area.
This is a hard one for town staff or counselors to ask for money sometimes, unless we can strong arm the rec center. Can we do that?
I don't know if they're in a position to be strong armed right now. It's the only thing.
But it's good to have more people coming in once they do open.
I like the idea of giving away a pass, but that would be something that maybe we purchase from them to give away with the sponsorship money.
Oh.
Because that way it helps the rec center out as well.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of sponsorship are we, again, sorry, I was late, but what kind of sponsorship are we looking for? I'm used to asking for money.
That actually didn't get discussed and clarified. It was more just around looking for prizes, Shara. So
Okay.
Call action out to the community to do.
It could be in kind, right? Like it could be in kind.
Yeah.
It could be just like a business giving away some of their products, or, you know, but I think where we left off, Kim, you were talking about categories, and would we want to break it into like individual prize, a group prize, or a community association prize, or best business? Do we want to do that? Or maybe it's just best group and best individual, and we have two. Like I think we should keep it simple, but I like the idea of categorizing it, and then maybe it's you know, most innovative or most creative. Am I muted? No. Sorry, your box is still lit up, and I'm like, man, if I said all that and you guys are just sitting there, I'm such an ass. I'll just keep talking. I like the idea of the categories and just keeping it simple. So that would also help on the finding the sponsor potentially. If it's a, you know, a new car, that would be, you know, something. But a group can't use that, right?
Food and recreation are the things that everybody can kind of use.
And something that promotes mental health would be great, right?
Yeah.
Like
Ice cream.
ice cream. Yeah. So if we are doing categories or whatever, I think at this point we can just say these are kind of the categories you'll be judged on. And then we'll have to come together, put a small group together to talk about how are we actually rating them. because we're going to need some kind of matrix or system. So it's not just,
Criteria.
just for transparency.
Can we come up with the categories that we're going to be sort of using when we know what prizes we have, so we know how many prizes?
Yeah, and maybe what we do originally, if we're promoting prior, is just that part, like prizes will be, and then we can
To be determined or whatever.
poster.
Yeah.
So Shara, did you express some form of interest on participating on the sponsorship committee?
You can count me in for that.
Thanks, Shara. Who would like to join Shara?
I could, but I think I need to be along the lines of what Susan was saying, a little bit removed from it, but I'm happy to help.
Thanks, Jack.
If we need a third, I can.
Thanks, Lauren.
I know that Home Treasures hasn't had as many requests this year from the community because there's no events going on if somebody wants to approach them.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, that's a really good idea, Susan.
Same thing with the Activettes might be another option.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, we can loop Jan in as well.
Look at all the money we've raised already. We haven't even started.
Yeah.
And then the last area is kind of that sitting down with communications and helping them understand what we're looking for and developing a bit of a plan for promotion. I'm happy to be, because we'll probably need a townie. And
I can
then,
help.
sorry, Terry, you jumped in?
Yeah, I can help you too, Kim.
I wouldn't mind helping with the communications too. It's a fun thing to do.
Okay. And then Nicole by default, so you can keep me on track like you always do. Beautiful. I think we're all assigned somewhere. Please don't let this prevent you from attending future meetings. We don't do this super often. So. That's great. I'm really excited. I think this gives us a bit of a place to move forward. And I was hoping that we'd land somewhere where we can explain. We're going to council on Monday. Sandra volunteered last time to come with me. So Sandra and I will be presenting to council, and we were hoping to share how we're moving forward. So we will get this into the presentation, and feel free to watch Monday the 22nd. We will do our best to make you guys all proud.
You know we're in person, right? Remember last time I said it was virtual?
Yeah.
I was wrong.
Yeah. No, we'll be live that night, so which is exciting. It's way better than doing it virtually. So just a couple more things. And I think we can table some of this for next time, but we'll talk about the support and resource promotion that was under old business as well. So that was more just trying to continue to get the information, resources, support out there. So we'll come up with some strategies to link it in with this project. And one thing I'd like everybody to give some thought and consideration to is the surveys that we did. So we did the organizational survey last July, and wondering if that's something that this group would like to repeat again to see where organizations are at. And it is so hard to believe, but the public engagement survey as well was done November, December, and we repeated it 5 months. We did June, and then we did November, December, 5 months later. 5 months from then will actually be May again. So I didn't know if we want to talk about and do a survey 1 year later. So it's kind of June and follow 1 year after the pandemic, if that's data that we're interested in collecting as well. So give it some thought. We don't have to make decisions this month, but we'll keep it on the agenda for next month and give that some discussion. It's hard to believe it's been a year, and our task force will have been a year in April or May. So
Just thinking about the organizations, it would be kind of nice to know where they're at because we haven't heard from quite a few of them. But maybe at the same time, you could put out the message about getting involved with the Mental Health Week if the timing worked out to do both at once.
I like the idea of the survey going out again, maybe in May, but would we consider shortening it up, being really high level, maybe asking some really pointed questions just about, certain topics that we have seen as highlights, and just see if they've changed from, have we moved the needle? Are people getting worse? Mental health being just one, but we could ask about finances. We could ask about, maybe 5 questions, and keep it short and simple and easy for us, or Nicole, to go through at the end. So it's not as much work, but we still have some good information out of it.
What we would have to do if we were looking at shortening it, we would have to use identical questions from before, and then we could definitely take out questions and remove them, but we'd want to make sure whatever we're using is the same question as previously, so we can actually really do the pre and post analysis. But absolutely,
Maybe
we'll
we
probably be grateful for that, Jeff.
But maybe we vote on our top 5 or 7 questions as a group, right? And then compare those just to see where we're at.
Yeah, no, that sounds good. We can send out the previous survey, and if people want to take a look through it, and we can come back next time and have some discussion around that and see what can be potentially cut.
There's probably some of those questions that you need for your strategic planning and other programming. So we'd need to know what you want to have in there.
Yeah, and we'll take a look as well and see what would be most applicable, but absolutely. So we'll send that out by email. The other thing, I'm sure people noticed that when you received your package, it was 5,000 pages long.
Yes.
Read it. It's actually really interesting, all 5,000 pages of it. So what Nicole was able to do was, from the last survey, she was able to pull out different data sets for us. So we have data on over 65, how our over 65 population is specifically doing. We have data on how families are specifically doing. And she also included the data on the pre and post surveys. So we had a number of people that completed both the June and November and identified themselves. So we actually have like real exciting pre-post data showing how people are doing, how they're shifting and changing. All of the different data sets, well, they have some uniqueness. They all came back fairly similar in the sense that people's mental health is declining. We're seeing that loud and clear, all ages, all demographics. But it is really interesting to actually dig down into that data a little bit. And just so people know, we're using this for a lot of different things. So I've presented to Seniors Advisory Committee. We've presented to Seniors on the Bow. We will be presenting to the Family Resource Network. We've presented to Kiwanis. So we're doing our best to get this information out to the groups, so they have the knowledge and they can use this to plan their programs and their strategies and their approaches, because the work doesn't have to fall on all of us as a task force. I see our role as like facilitating that discussion, making sure people are knowledgeable about what trends exist and possible strategies. So yeah, it's exciting. But take a look through. We can talk about it more next time as well if there's anything of interest that you want to dig into deeper, but I would like to thank Nicole. It's a huge amount of work. She tells me it is about 30 hours to take the data and just pull out the seniors. So it's a huge amount of work. So thank you, Nicole, on behalf of the whole entire task force. You're getting lots of like clapping and cymbals and
with the, can I mention in the December post survey that's on there, you will see on some of the pages that I put the difference from June 2020 to December 2020 as you're flipping through. So just to note that that difference is just for those 27 people that gave us their information from the pre and the post. So it's just sort of doing that. And if it doesn't make sense or anything, please let me know, because the data all starts to meld together. So yeah, let me know and we can have a look at it too. So that's all.
And we're also putting together the PowerPoint. Sandra and I have worked so hard to try to condense the slides. I've been told that I'm wordy sometimes, which is weird that I go to council and I talk for a very long time. So I'm working on that, you guys. So we've tried to condense the slides. Sandra is helping me like cut and slash. So the presentation is a little bit more concise. But we will share that PowerPoint out to all of our members as well. And I do encourage everybody, if you get a chance, to like talk about the stuff to your boards, to your partners, to do these presentations and get that information and word out there. So we'll share it with you so you actually have something concrete. And then that brings us to roundtable. Who would like to start us off today?
I have a great segue into mental health, and you've been talking about it declining and declining, and I would agree that that's been the trend, just with interacting with people in groups. However, having the vaccination site at the ranch house has been such a treat. Seeing the 75 and over demographic come and go from the ranch house here. I've been, the nurses at AHS have asked me to not loiter so much outside the site, because I've been, it's just so great, to see people. And then the reactions from the seniors have been so awesome. Some of them have literally been dancing out of the vaccination. And I'm not kidding you. And they're so full of hope and sunshine, and people are out in the parking lot talking and discussing and joking about how much it hurt or didn't hurt. And it's just so great to see. So it's not all bleak and doom and gloom out there. There's people that are smiling, the sun's shining, it's getting warmer. And, hopefully this is the beginning of the end of all of this. I know we have a lot of work to do, and we're only going to, it's going to be slow and steady, but it's just so nice to see.
Thank you for sharing that. I actually think when we do this next survey, if we do kind of wait till that June-ish time, I bet we do see a shift in the optimism as well, because the vaccines will have rolled out a little bit and we'll have a little bit more space to gather. So it'll be really interesting to see. You guys all know I'm good with awkward silence.
Everybody's so quiet. I just have to mention, I didn't know Jeff was such a Klingon. Hanging around all the vaccine sites. I don't think I mentioned this last time, but I'm on the Community Awards Committee. It's not a town committee, it's a community committee, but I always like sitting on it because it's so positive. So if anyone has someone in their life that they know that they could nominate, please do. There's only a couple more weeks to nominate, and we're usually short on things like equity and inclusion and some of the categories that are a bit trickier. So have a look and please nominate if you can.
Absolutely. And I believe it's on the town website, the nomination form, right? Thanks, Susan.
Okay, well, I'll go next on behalf of First Big Hill Haven. As you can imagine, we have been busy. Our intensive case manager and our housing coordinator are both working with quite a caseload, doing some in person, some on the phone. And I think the word is getting out there that we have the resources now so that the calls are coming in steady. Our website has drawn lots of attention and we're all forwarding messages so the word gets out there. And so they're doing some really amazing work in the community, along with having the Haven is very helpful. And the board itself is working on gearing up for some fundraising events, some of which we did last year, and we're going to add some more this year with, planned golf tournament in the fall, fingers crossed. And so yeah, it's getting to be a really well-known resource in the community, which is what it's all about. And CSHO is, we're doing well, we're busy as well. We're always full, pretty much. If I could have a wish in the world, it would be that we just had this big facility drop down in town with all of these new affordable housing units, and I could tell all these people that, yes, we have places for them. So, it's still an ongoing need, and I just don't want anybody to forget about that. And that's all.
Thanks, Sandra.
I guess I can go next.
I can pop. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
You can go ahead, Terry.
Oh, okay. Thank you. We're like humming along here. It's lots of classes that the family resource workers or the family support workers are doing, and more parents signing up, more parents coming in. So it's been good.
Yeah, I think we've been pretty busy over here as well. Morley just opened a more sort of permanent detachment. So there's sort of a detachment on the Stoney Nakoda Nation now. So Daphne's out there pretty much full time. So the rest of us are back in the office, and the phone is ringing pretty regularly. So just trying to keep up with all that right now.
Thanks, Lauren. And last but not least, Shara.
We are pretty busy too. All of our programs are moving and shaking, and we'd had 51 rides in February, which is our biggest ever. And keeping in mind that February is a shorter month, that makes a big difference. And none of those had to do with the vaccines. So those were all independent rides to medical appointments. We are hoping to have our food shed open in the next week or two. The high school has already 3D printed their structure, which is really cool. And then they're starting to make up their own mock-ups and work on that and getting it built this week and next week. We have the food drives coming up. First one is April 10th. We're looking for volunteers to collect, and just reminding anybody in the East End and central areas that we will be picking up on Saturday, April 10th. And we are officially starting to ramp up our seniors check-in program, pairing up volunteers with isolated seniors in the community to check in and have conversations mixed with geriatric mental health as well. So those questionnaires coming from Deb and Jody with geriatric mental health. And I think that's it for right now.
That's a lot. Thanks, Shara. Nicole, do you have anything to add?
No, we're busy here. Our volunteer tax program is up and running here. So we have a lot of those calls kind of coming in. I would think we have over 200 people on the list already. For our volunteers are trying to plug through the list and working that way. They're doing it all kind of remote and over the phone. For that, instead of seeing clients in person here in the office. So our two amazing volunteers have been with us forever, are plugging through that. So that's been busy for us.
Awesome.
And you, Kim?
I have nothing, which is sad. Well, we went 3 minutes over, you guys, but I do want to thank everybody. I'm really excited about the work coming up. I think it's going to be amazing, and I think the outcomes for the community are going to be incredible. So just thank you. We'll get in touch with people in terms of committee work and link people up and start to get things happening so we can get some work done behind the scenes before our next meeting. And we'll send out the survey as well. And please, over the next month, take some time to look through it and see what questions for your organization or for your use that you feel would be most beneficial, and see if we can trim it back a little bit. So I think that's it. Good meeting, you guys. I'll close us off.